everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Christina Joy. If we haven't met already, I make Christian and faith-based videos about Jesus to help you learn more about God and to grow in your faith. If any of that sounds interesting to you, then please hit the red subscribe button down below and make sure you have the notification bell turned on so that you never miss a video. So today I have the day off of school and I'm really excited about this. Not because I don't like school or anything per se, but because this course is not biblically accurate and I feel like they are misrepresenting the gospel and poorly conveying the message of God. And so it's for that reason that I've been making videos about college, about how to critically think, about, I even made a rebuttal to one of the courses, and today I want to make a video for those who are note-taking, whether it be for a sermon or whether it be note-taking for a professor, and you're trying to basically understand if what they're teaching is the truth. Usually I take notes in class, handwritten notes, because you retain knowledge better if you take handwritten notes as opposed to like typing your notes. So I do that. And I've noticed that, sometimes the professor will say a verse or something and I'm like, okay, is this the entire verse? And I have, with the Romans 1:18, it says, "For ever since the earth was created, people have seen the earth and sky." And that verse was on the screen, but it didn't have an ellipsis, a ... to say that verse has a second part, which is very important to understanding Romans 1:18. And that is so that people have no excuse for not knowing God. So ever since, I realized that parts of verses were being left out in order to make the verse mean something that it didn't mean, I wanted to develop a method by where I could note take fast enough in order to check what the professor was saying with what the Bible actually says. And so what I decided to do was write down the first word and the last word of the verse or the part of the verse that the professor was sharing. And so for that example, for Romans 1:18, I would say "for," that would be the first part of the verse, and then God would be the last word in that verse so that they have no excuse for not knowing God. So I would write down "for" and God and the reference. And so that later I could look up Romans 1:18 and determine if that verse in whatever translation was being used. I would write down the translation too if it was on the screen. If not, then I would just compare them in Bible Hub, which is a website that you can compare translations very easily. So I would compare the translations, and if that first word and that last word did not line up, then I would say, okay, why did it not line up? Do I need to look at a different translation, or was this an intentional misrepresentation of the Word of God? And if so, what truth were they excluding in order to make the verse mean something that it didn't mean? And so I use that method throughout my note-taking, and it's really kind of opened up a whole new lens by which to, see the Word of God, because I'm seeing, okay, this professor thinks that this is either not an important part of the verse or intentionally does not fit the agenda with which they're trying to impose on the students. And if that's the reason, then those truths are especially important for me to pay attention to because, I'm not being fed that truth in that class. So I need to not be intellectually lazy and look up the verses myself. And so in this way, I've been able to catch a lot of errors and what I believe could be intentional misrepresentations of the Word of God. So I hope this tip could help you in order to, take notes if you're a student, or just as a Christian, if you're trying to take notes on a sermon or something, that you would be able to see what the truth of the Word of God is and what the Word says. Because if we don't know the truth, we are not going to recognize the lies, which is incredibly important. So this week, I would hope that you would maybe try to implement that tool somewhere in your life, and maybe you'll be surprised by what you find, like I was. And like I continually am, because each time the truth is distorted or misrepresented, it's like a new part of me is like shocked. And also I've noticed that textbooks will do the same thing, where they'll only put part of a verse and not the entire verse. So we got to be careful for that too. So have a great week, everybody, and make sure to listen to the advice of smart people. Stay safe and give big hearts for Jesus. Bye!